Hey everybody, today we're going to read a text called Baby Bears. This is in your read button on your Wonders app. It's in your big textbook that's at school as well, but if you would like to pull up a copy to reread this at any time, if you log into Wonders, click that read button, you will be able to find Baby Bears. So the essential question while we're reading today is how are offspring like their parents? Read to find out how baby bears are like their moms and dads. What is a bear? Bears are animals called mammals. Mammals have hair or fur on their bodies. Bears are covered with fur. Mammals are born. You were born too. You are a mammal, and that's humans. That means we didn't hatch out of eggs. Down here, you have a second picture, and it also has a caption in this photograph that says, baby bears are called cubs. Cubs are born with their eyes shut. Their eyes open when they are about 6 weeks old. This brown bear cub was just born. It has very little fur. Okay, mammal mothers make milk inside their bodies. Mammal babies nurse from their mothers. To nurse is to drink mother's milk. And this caption says the polar bear cub is nursing. So that kind of told you all the characteristics that mammals have. And now we're going to go into specifically about bears and the kinds of bears that there are. So you can see from this subheading, kinds of bears, that's what we're going to be talking about. We're not going to be talking about their habitat right now or what they eat. We're talking about the types of bears that there are. Let me move my pick away so you can read all that. Okay. Kinds of bears. There are 8 kinds of bears. The bears shown on this page are an American black bear, a brown bear, and a polar bear. These bears all live in North America. So the reason that they only put those 3 bears on this page is because they all live in North America. And where do we live? So that's why they included these bears on this page. It says American black bears can be different colors. What color is this black bear? I kind of see some tan on his chest and his face, some dark brown, maybe black up top in his ears. So he's got a couple different colors on him. There are different kinds of brown bears. These grizzly bears are one kind of brown bear. Polar bears have white fur. They live in a cold place called the Arctic. And I bet you can probably guess why polar bears are white. Why would a white bear be beneficial in the Arctic? Well, look at the environment that it lives in, right? Icy, white. We got a white bear. Kind of blends in a little bit of camouflage when he's a predator and looking for his next meal. People who study bears once thought that giant pandas were raccoons. Now people think these animals are bears. There are not many giant pandas left in the world. Giant pandas live in China. Okay, this question on here says, what animal did people used to think giant pandas were? If you said raccoons, you're right. Okay, we can see from these 2 headings, we're going to be going into what the bears look like, their appearance. So this book is being organized by sections. We first learned about mammals and bears being mammals. The second section was about different types of bears that there are. Now we're going into what bears look like. So the author is organizing this into different sections about bears to keep it all the same information together, to keep it organized. So this one is called Bear Bodies. Bears have 4 legs. They can walk on all 4 legs or on their 2 back legs. They have 5 toes with claws on each foot. Claws are curved nails. Hey, what we have here is a diagram. You see this photograph and it's got lines coming out of it and more information. That's a text feature, and text features help you know more about what the book is saying. So he could have just written this paragraph that tells us what a bear looks like, their bodies, but now that we have this diagram, I get some more information specific about a bear's body. So the first thing it says, this caption up here says, this grizzly bear cub has brown fur covering its body. That's something we already knew because we read that first page that talked about how all mammals have fur or hair. So we know that this bear will have fur because it's a mammal. Bears can smell, hear, and see very well. Why do we think that that's the case with bears? Why would it be important that they be able to smell, hear, and see very well? Do you think they're more predators or more prey? They're more like a predator, right? They're sort of at the top of their food chain. They're the ones that hunt other animals. So they have to be able to smell, hear, and see well in order to hunt these animals. Otherwise, they'd get very hungry. This last section says bears use their claws to climb and dig. So we know bears can get into honey, beehives and stuff. So they'll need those claws to kind of climb up a tree and be able to reach it. We know they might need the claws when they're attacking an animal as well. So the claws are really important to a bear in order for it to find food as well. This next page says is about bear coats. And I'm not talking about like a coat like we put on in the winter, but coats is kind of like their fur. So it says bears have two kinds of fur. Some of their fur is short and some is long. Their short fur keeps them warm. Their long fur keeps water away from their skin. So I know a lot of you have dogs. Perhaps your dogs, um, some of them have long hair. If they do, then you've noticed that there's also some short hair, like kind of downy fur underneath the long hairs. That's kind of like what a bear has too. There's short hair that stays close to their body that keeps them nice and warm. And the long hair is kind of like on a duck, how the water rolls off of a duck's back. That's what the long hair kind of helps the bear do. So the bear doesn't stay wet long. He is able to dry off quickly. So it kind of helps him to become almost sort of waterproof or not as likely to have water in their fur for long periods of time. Polar bears have thick white fur. We know polar bears have to have very thick fur because of the environment they live in. It's very cold year round where they live, and they need thick white fur. And them to have real thin fur or not that much short fur would not be helpful to them. They need a lot of that short fur that'll keep them warm, and it needs to be thick so they can keep them nice and cozy. Pandas have black and white fur. Now that we've sort of gotten into about halfway through this expository text, an expository text is one that is nonfiction, that means not fake. We know this is nonfiction because we get photographs, and it's all factual information that we are reading here. So that's how you can tell it's a nonfiction book. You won't have opinions in here, it'll be mostly facts in the text. Now that we're halfway through this text, I want you to stop for a minute and reflect upon what you think is something that you read in this story that you didn't know before. What's something that you read that you did not know? So when I go back and do this, I need to go back in the text here. I'm going to flip back a few pages to find the one that I was looking for. I think this is the one. Yeah, so something that was new to me that I did not know was that black bears can be different colors. I just assumed because they were titled Black Bears, that was their name, that they were always black. So this text helped me to find out that there are different colors. And the fact that the author included a photograph of a black bear that wasn't really black all the way kind of helped me to see what colors they could be. So that was something new that I learned. What I want you to do now is I want you to think about a fact that you've learned so far in this book that you didn't know before, and you're going to type your answer.